Welcome back, guys. We're here today and we're going to be talking about ministry. And so, when it comes to ministry, often it requires isolation. And in that isolation, Yahweh can do a lot of different things. He separates you a lot of times to steal you so that you can be refined, so that you can be taught, so that you can become disciplined. Because a lot of things are not going to come from a place of preparation or planning. So, it can be very, very disruptive. It can be very, very uncomfortable a lot of times. So you think about ministering. Ministering comes in many different forms. So if you are someone that is community based, then that means that your ministry work is going to take place outside of the standard traditional setting, which is a congregation or a centralized location. You're going to be called to different community capacities. So in him preparing you for that, you have to get to the point where you are comfortable with speaking to people and going into their territory. So you're not going to have a centralized location. So he has to prepare you for that. You have to be equipped to handle circumstances and situations like that so that you're not judgmental, so that you can operate from a place of obedience without passing judgment. Then you also are not only being refined, but you're being taught, and it's requiring that discipline from you so that he can move through you as a vessel for your calling to actually exemplify everything that he's calling you to exemplify. The second component is when you go through this phase, you are acting out of obedience. So that whole narrative of everything being planned out and being prepared is going to go out the window. You show up when he calls, you answer the call. So that is what that means. You have to answer the call. And a lot of times it will be when you're doing something or you want to be doing something else. And all of a sudden, now you're being called. That's a part of it. And so this is why he says, scripturally speaking, many are called, but few answer. A lot of people don't like to be uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to um, have to give their all for others' sakes. So, in that being the case, they miss out on the opportunity to minister. He can't operate at full throttle without your attentiveness. Your focus has to be on him and his solutions. His instructions, how you're supposed to walk upright. It requires a strong core and core values. This means core values, core curriculum, core facilitation, core relation. You have to be able to relate. You have to be able to facilitate. You have to be able to um, present what it is that he's giving you the wisdom to present. And then you also have to understand that he provides the lessons for you to teach. You are to serve, but not to be served. And so, um, as you often are, a link to others' needs. And so, this is really big when it comes to community type ministry. And so, as I was given this message, it is definitely for those of you that have been led here that continue to watch this platform and the messages that I deliver in starting your own ministry, because a lot of the messages previously have been talking about when I first had to come and learn to be obedient, and now I'm walking in it. So now I have that testimony to link it and correlate it. So that part um, has already been exemplified. So now that I'm operating, he can now use me to teach, to facilitate, to do those things as it relates to ministry and community ministry, because that's a part of what are the types of ministry that I'm called to. So there are many different types. So I just suggest that you take it back to our Heavenly Father and ask Him which areas specifically, if He hasn't already led you or given you that specific instruction as it relates to where you're supposed to be housed. And then remembering that you are teaching. You're to be serving, but not to be served, as you are often a link to others in need, guiding them, teaching them, leading them, etc. But you only receive these same things you've given to others from him directly. So I'm going to break this one down. What this means is a lot of times you're going to be called to be that resource linkage. However, when it comes to you receiving that same resource, you don't get it from people. he directly supplies it to you through a source. And so this means that you can have the same circumstances or situations of those that you're ministering and teaching to that you have served the testament of. But when it came time for you to qualify for that assistance or that aid, it never panned out for you from that route. It literally just showed up supernaturally for you because you're selected, you're his chosen, you were called, you answered. And this is how he chooses to display his glory and his grandeur in your life as a vessel. So that's what that means. Um, so it's supernatural, and you are to do a number of different things. And so we're going to talk about that. The first that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that you're praying every day. You want to make sure that your connectivity with him is solid so that when he's instructing you, you are able to discern his voice from those voices of disreason or mimicking, because we know that Satan and his hosts mimic. So a lot of times you may feel like something is right, but then you get there and it's like, nope. And boy, do I have many testaments of that. And so it's no different with you and your ministry work and being called and responding. So just keep that in mind. You should always be in constant prayer. You should be taking everything back to him. You should be focused on his solutions and the things that he desires for you to have and receive well through you being obedient and walking in your ministry. The second is operating from faith. You have to operate from faith because a lot of times you're not going to understand why you can't see the full picture. But in you not seeing that full picture, you are able to just maneuver based off of faith. You know that he's going to show up. You know that he's going to supply. You know that he's going to equip. You know that he's going to teach. You know, all of these different things. And so, because you know these things, you are able to then house him and operate from that faith-filled space without any type of reserves. So that is what that means. And then you also want to pray for the protection and the ability to move forward and maneuver as you've been called and instructed to maneuver. And you want to pray for a spirit of excellence and execution, obedience, diligence, all of these different things, because you have to study, you have to pray, you have to operate in faith. So a lot of times these things are all going to come at one time. And so you have to be prepared. And so that is the message that I have for you guys as it relates to ministry. And so I pray that this message has reached you well. I pray that you take it back to our Heavenly Father and continue to seek him as you operate in your ministry work that you've been called to. It's going to be great, and you'll do exceptionally well. Just stay grounded in our Heavenly Father and allow him to lead you and prosper you. It is not going to come by your own will or your own strength or your own might. It's going to be supernatural for you from him in his hand. All right, so that's my message for you guys. I love you, and I look forward to the next message. Take care.